Ravel was the best player at that age he had ever seen. Sir Alex Ferguson. This boy was a football prodigy, a football genius, an individual who was so naturally talented that he had the potential and prowess to surpass Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney, David Beckham, and many others. But man, he lost the race even before starting. So what is the story of Ravel Morrison? What went wrong with the Wonder Kid? Where is he now? Ravel Morrison was born in Wythenshawe, a community south of Manchester known for its economic hardships. From the outset, his journey was defined by financial hardships. Born into a disadvantaged background and a dysfunctional family, Morrison's childhood was far from ideal. Despite attempts to find stability by relocating to Denton under the care of his grandparents, turmoil seemed to follow him like a shadow. The bright side of life remained a distant dream, as he fought with the harsh realities of deprivation. Little did he realise that the scars of his early experiences would shape his path in profound ways, setting the stage for the challenges he would face in the years to come. As he grew up, there was one thing that separated him from every other kid: his natural gift of being special at football. His timing and disguise were insane. It was capped off with deadly acceleration over a short distance, which made him a master of timing. He was an extremely valuable player when it came to breaking down a stubborn packed defence. He was blessed. Anyhow, he was just 8 when United Academy coach Phil Brogan spotted him, and this is what Brogan had to say. "I didn't even need to see him kick a ball at that point. You could just tell he had something about him from his demeanour." This was the start of Ravel's early ascent. After a 6-week trial period, he signed for United's youth academy and went on to make an impression immediately. With time, this wonder kid got better and better. He'd become so good that Ferguson told senior players Morrison was the biggest talent he'd ever seen at United at age 14. Better than Scholes, better than Giggs. Oh my word. Hence one thing was clear: Morrison was bound to reach the glory that only a few had seen. I mean, he was a goldmine of pure talent. After turning professional on his 17th birthday in February 2010, the attacking midfielder made his senior debut in October of that year, coming on as a substitute in a League Cup victory over Wolves. But this glory only lasted for just one match, as after this outing, my man was warming the bench until April 2011, when the world saw his finesse once again as he hit the back of the net twice in the Youth FA Cup game against Sheffield. Damn, he was crazy good. While he came out to train, he was humiliating the seniors and pros with his slick flicks and nutmegs as if it were nothing. This is what Rooney recalled about him. He was brilliant, he was confident. He nutmegged Nemanja Vidic 3 times in the space of a minute in one training game. Oh my gosh. You guys see, apart from football, nothing was perfect about Morrison. Beyond the pitch, his life was a battleground, a constant struggle against inner demons. The young kid was at war with himself. He was fighting his inner demons and ghosts, and it was tough. His career hadn't yet taken off, but the weight of his off-field troubles bore down heavily. It started in early 2011. Ravel was convicted of intimidating a knife-point robbery witness, for which he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of witness intimidation and barely escaped with a 12-month referral and an order to pay costs and compensation of £1,445. Damn. It was wrong, but Manchester stood by Morrison's side as they badly wanted the kid. But despite this very strong wake-up call, he didn't change his ways, and a few months later, he was in the headlines once again. This time the charges were way more serious: domestic abuse and throwing his girlfriend's phone out of the window. These issues were complemented by his reputation as a problem child, inattentive in training sessions, often absent without explanation, and seen as a troublemaker off the field. Old Trafford maintained that if Morrison was 10% less talented, his behaviour would have seen him thrown out of football by the time he'd hit 16. But Ferguson persisted. He even moved him to the first team dressing room. But nothing worked. All of this was way too much for United. Hence, just 7 months after he started, scoring twice in the Youth Cup final, the extent of United's efforts to keep Morrison on a straight and narrow path had been exhausted. So Alex decided it was the right time to pull the plug. In his 2015 book, Sir Alex said, "It was very painful to sell him. He could have been a fantastic player. But over a period of years, the problems off the pitch continued to escalate and we had little option but to cut the cord. It was truly sad. Having found himself on the wrong side of the FA and the law, he was shipped off to West Ham, where, despite flashes of his brilliance, things didn't work out. During the 2012-13 season, he made some homophobic comments which tainted his image further and got him slammed with a £7,000 fine. Damn. Sam Allardyce would come to consider him the biggest waste of talent he ever worked with. At a time when he was struggling in his club career, he didn't even try to do better while playing for England under 21. And as things turned out, there was utter chaos. To be honest, it made sense.
He's getting a ball and he's just doing tricks, and the only time he passes it is if he really needs to.
Yeah.
And we're just stood there with our hands on our hips whilst he's going past 6 Lithuanian players. And it's just like, what are you doing?
Was it that easy, or was it he just like...
Jeez, bro forgot he was playing with a team. Anyways, after having spent a season on loan at Birmingham City, with a sensational solo goal against Tottenham in a 3-0 Premier League away success for his new club, his driving runs from midfield and confidence in possession gave brilliant early impressions before the wheels fell off. This is where Morrison's career began to unravel, as he was sent on loan to the likes of Queen's Park Rangers, Cardiff and Middlesbrough in the Championship after losing his place in the Irons' first team. He then embarked on an unsuccessful stint with Lazio in Italy, Atlas in Mexico, Ottosund in Sweden and ADO Den Haag in the Netherlands. In 2021, Derby County offered Morrison perhaps a final chance at redemption in the English game, signing him on a free transfer after his release from his previous Eredivisie employers. His stint at Derby ended with just 4 goals in 36 appearances. Damn. At the age of 31, he's now a free agent. His most recent club was DC United, where he played under Wayne Rooney for a spell. Morrison's career is the sad reality of what can occur even if the brightest talents lose focus and don't possess the right attitude and motivation to work at the level needed to make it as an elite footballer. At 31, Morrison can still have a few years in him. And Ravel was the best youngster I'd seen since George Best, but his lack of discipline, off-field troubles and troubled past played a much bigger part in his life. But then there have been players who lived through similar times and were maybe less talented than Ravel. I mean, just look at Ronaldo or Rooney. Their past was equally troubled. Ronaldo's father had a drinking problem. Rooney came from a part of England where gun violence was pretty common. But these folks rose from the ashes and changed their lives. On the contrary, Morrison surrounded himself with scandals, controversies and a series of unending altercations with the law. Even just as recently, he was caught once again for fraud and fined £1,000. But if we summarise it in another player's words, this is what he said. I think that we can all safely say, hand on heart, that we did our best because he was challenging. He was the most challenging young player that we had ever seen. Yet at the same time, there's a great sadness to see how he's moved around. He's been a little bit of a wanderer, going from club to club to club. Even Sir Alex couldn't hold back, and he wrote in his book, all I can say is that it's not his fault. And that's the sadness. I don't think it was ever his fault. He was a victim of circumstances.